Hello and welcome to my Sprint 1 video for Game 377. The first thing that I'll go over is all the individual feedback from my last sprint from Game 374. So lots of the problems were in the scene. So I guess I need I don't know, I put it away. I need scene.h. What you'll see here are a lot of more private statements. So these four are now private. The draw update initialize scene end. The scene entry and all of the registrations are things I don't want my users calling. I want them to go through the proper registration sequences. And so these are all private. Yeah, and then I just have those implemented through the scene attorney, which I have right here. It's just very fleshed out. The scene also now, let's see. So that was this. The function that shouldn't be public. Scene manager should be, I closed you, so you wouldn't be in my video. The scene manager should be the camera manager and the scene manager. So I have the scene manager now processes its own broker. So that weird stuff wasn't happening where the engine was taking care of it. And then I forgot to delete the 2D camera, and so I have that deleted now. The collidable group delete needed to be private. It is private. I have the attorney working. Yep. Documentation I'm still working on. The demo game, what I have working now is I have begun to flesh it out more. So now I totally forgot that I wrote Tank Horse Chaos, but I just have more things being fleshed out. That's really the main thing I've added this week. But I'll show in my documentation, not my documentation, in the rest of the assignment how I plan on moving forward with that. So that is that. For my research, I have settled on porting my engine over to DirectX, and so into the with the graphics that we did in Game 370. The research that I'm going to go into for that is going to rely heavily on the slides and the book that we used last quarter, as well as all the code examples that we used for that class. And then I'm also going to go into that game engine architecture book. There's a really good chapter I just started going through. It has a lot of stuff on lighting models. I haven't really gotten deep into it, but I've started to go into the game engine architecture book. And then also I'm thinking of this project as very much focusing on the architecture for the engine, and so as a kind of research for it, the audio engine that we're building for the multi-threading class that I am in is very similar, where we start with a low level driver and we build up a system around it. So for the structure of this graphics engine, I'm going to take a lot of the things that we're doing from that and apply them directly into this new engine. And so I'm going to have the working engine, lights, which aren't in Azul in the way that we're using it now. I'm going to focus and make sure that all of the things that Azul offers to my engine, that my graphics engine also provides. So that'll involve looking into Azul and just making sure that all the stuff that it does, my engine does. And then it shouldn't be too much work. The way that you presented it, it didn't seem like a lot of work. But I'm going to have hardware instancing. And honestly, I don't even know what building up my own graphics engine will allow me to do. But being closer to the graphics is really going to open up a lot of avenues for other things I might do. But that is the research that I'm doing. And then for this game document, there's not a lot on here. I've been playing through the game and trying to identify things um, that are in the game, and so having like a health bar and a score and the mini map that we talked about, a fuel gauge are things that I guess are technically part of this HUD, but involve some just below surface level systems to get them going. Um, I want terrain in my game, which I don't know how we're going to do it in class, but I want that terrain, hardware instancing for trees and shrubs and that kind of thing. I think really makes a game special, so that's a big thing that I want. I want skybox and some sort of lighting. Oh, this isn't my final. I have more things. I'll update this, but I'll talk about them. Lighting, directional, spot, and point. Um, and I definitely want that camera change to switch between like a little minigun weapon on top of the tank to the tank artillery mode where you're up close with the tank thing. Let me just pull up on my laptop exactly what I wrote for that other thing that is just not here for some reason, but it'll be in the version that you have. I also want levels. Did I write anything else up here? Oh, I'm also I want to implement slightly better AI for enemies so that they can have more movement. Right now, my enemies just creep towards the player, so I want to add a little bit better AI. And then a level, not a level system, but multiple levels with ascending difficulties, preferably with different environments, so that I can have a day one that has good visuals, and then a night one where I can show off some of the lighting. I want score to carry over between levels, which shouldn't be too difficult. I see that as just passing a score from one scene to the next scene, so we enter a new scene with just carrying over the same score, or some sort of thing like that. And then a live system, which also shouldn't be too difficult to implement. So that is the stuff I have for Sprint 1. I will commit these to Perforce, and I will see you tomorrow.